Everybody wants success in their life. You know, success to me means wholeness, nothing missing, nothing broken in every area of my life, my finances, my relationship, my businesses. And you know, whether we acknowledge or not, there are some fears that are actually holding us back from true success. Now, on today's program, I'm going to start a series on the 6 biggest fears that are actually holding you back from true success in your life. I'm going to teach you how to overcome them, and we're going to get you to a point where you're going to look those fears in the eyes and say, bring it on, I got you. Well, welcome to today's program. If this is the first time you're joining us, my name is Bryce, and this is Doing Life Today. And today I'm going to give you some really simple ideas on how to overcome some fears in your life that are actually holding you back from success. It just depends on how you perceive it. See, contrary to how you feel, fear actually exists to highlight your unmet potential. And by changing your perspective on fear, you can actually look at fear as an ally to work with and not to run from. And if you can get the courage to face these fears honestly and openly, they will actually show you where your true potential lies. Now, you have to ask yourself a question. The fears that are holding you back from true success, are they rational or irrational? Today we're talking about irrational fear. An irrational fear is actually a made-up assumption of some imaginary future, and it holds us back from living the successful life that you were meant to live. You know, there's a definition of fear that I love, and I always remind myself of this. Fear stands for false evidence appearing real. When we have fear, it's actually it's false evidence. It's an imaginary made-up assumption of what could happen, what might happen, what may happen. And that's where we have to look this fear in the eyes and say, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to base my future and my success on something that might not happen, that might not come true. So we have to make a decision. Are we going to allow ourselves to hold ourselves back from the successful life that we want and going for different things because we're afraid or fearful of something that might not happen? Or are we going to look that fear in the face, we're going to tell it to bug off, and we're going to go for our dreams and go for success? Okay, so let's get into these 6 biggest fears that are holding you back. The first biggest fear that holds people back from true success is the fear of failure. So, how do you know if you're dealing with fear of failure? Okay, well, let me give you a few things that you might typically do, and you can see if you are. If you're dealing with fear of failure, you'll be refusing to try new opportunities. You don't stick with things long enough to give them a true chance of success before you quit and give up, so you're not sticking out long enough. And number 3 is, you can't stand to lose, because losing to you means failure. You feel that failure is inherently bad, and you're not looking at it as a growth opportunity. As a matter of fact, you could look at it this way. Failure is like feedback. Think about that. Failure is feedback. What do I mean? Well, it's feedback. If you didn't succeed at something, you just got some feedback on things that work and don't work so that you can do it again, take that feedback, and get better. It's no different than a public speaker. A public speaker gets up and does a speech, and after he's done, if he's a very good public speaker, he'll get some feedback from some trusted friends, and they'll say, well, you know, your intro was too long, or I didn't like this, or you pronounced that wrong. Okay, that's feedback. Okay, did I fail? No, he didn't fail. He just got some feedback on things that he needs to improve so that the next time he goes for it, he'll be able to get it better. The fear of failure is so closely related to the fear of the worst case scenario or the fear of being hurt. You know, oftentimes when we have an opportunity in front of us, whether in our career or whatever it might be, we're like, when we think about it, we think, okay, what could go wrong? And we come up with this outrageous worst case scenario. Well, if I do this, then this might happen. If I do this, then that might happen. And again, we cripple ourselves with this worst case scenario or trying to avoid being hurt. Okay, so how are we going to overcome this fear of failure? Okay, there's one key element, and it's called persistence. Remember what I said. Failure is nothing more than feedback. So the more feedback you can get, the quicker you're going to succeed. The quicker you fail, the quicker you succeed. But being persistent, the longer you do it, the better you get. You see, persistence is the key to overcoming the fear of failure. You see, by being persistent, the longer you work at something, the better you're going to become. It's no different than those Olympic gymnasts. You ever watch them, the Olympic gymnasts? Man, they do these flips and twirls and everything else. Well, you know what? They didn't start off on this high beam doing all these crazy tricks. if you ever look back to when they were starting, when they just started, they were falling on their heads. They were almost scary how much they fell and crashed and things, but they got back up and they did it again. They were persistent and they worked at it and they worked at it. And they have to work, before the Olympics, they worked for years. I heard like 2, 3, 4 years of 12-hour a day. The longer they do something and be persistent, right? Fail, get back up. Fail, get back up. Not fail, right? Not fail. Feedback. What am I going to do different? The longer you do it, the more you do it, the more persistence you have, the better you're going to be. The quicker you fail, the quicker you succeed. I hope you're getting value out of this. If you are, please hit that like button. That would be awesome. And listen, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And turn on the notifications, because I don't want you to miss the second fear that is holding you back from success. All right, so come with me over here. Let's go this way and check. I know you're going to like this one because I'll meet you there. But again, turn on your notifications, hit this logo that's right here beside me, this Doing Life Today logo, and subscribe. And that way you'll be notified the second that part 2 comes out of the other greatest fear that's holding you back from success. Thanks for watching, and go do life.